In the previous video, we learned how to open an activity using just the button click, and then we call the function that we want to run. Then it opens for us the activity. In this video, I'm going to show you how to open an activity using the on-click listener. So if you're going to use our on-click listener, we are going to remove this function from here so that we can call that function by ourselves. So what do we begin with? First of all, we're going to first create the button itself that we are going to connect with this one in front, so that we should be able to control or listen to whatever happens to this button itself. So to do that, I'm going to begin giving this button an ID, so that I should be able to do what? To identify it from other view elements that we're having in the front end. So I'm going to give this one ID, so I can call it ID, and I say is equal to my what? Messages button, not anything that you want. Messages button. Okay, so I'll copy that ID. After copying this ID, now I have to go to my back end and connect this button with my back end. So to connect this button in the back end, first of all, we shall come and create an instance of a button, or we shall first create a button itself in the back end. Okay, so to do that, we just say button. Every Android view that you see here, it has its own class in the back end. Everything that you see here, text view, button view, linear layout view, all the views, they have their classes in the back end, and we can use those classes to connect them with these ones, so that you can see them in this side in back end in form of what? In form of objects. And once you see them in form of objects on this side of back end, then it means that we can control also the front end. That's why I see this one is called a button. I'm also creating an object of a what? Of a button. So I can call it whatever I want. For example, messages button, anything that I want. But for me, I always keep my things a little bit consistent to avoid spelling errors. So if I'm to use here the ID of messages button, I'll just also come here and use also messages button. But it is not necessary. It is not necessary that what you used previously is what you use also on this side. You can use also different variables, no problem. But for me, to avoid the spelling mistakes, what I use from the front end is also what I use from the back end. So after doing that, it means that you have created the button, but this button is not connected to this one in the front yet. So I'm going to show you how we can connect this one with this object button, so that we should be able to control this front end button using the object in the back end. So to do that, I'll come here after creating the layout in the onCreate. After displaying the layout, I'll then do what? I'll then connect it. So to connect it, we shall just simply say this button that we've created is equal to find view by ID. So this is an inbuilt function for Java, for Android operating system, that will help us to connect this front end button with its object on back end. So how do you access IDs and the resources in the layouts? Just like the way I said before, we use the resource Android object, which is the R. So capital R, and then we say dot ID. So it means that we are referencing to what? To ID. If we say dot layout, it means that we're referencing to layout. If we say dot drawable, it means that we're referencing to drawable. Dimension etc. So but right now we are referencing a what? An ID, and then to bring for us all the IDs that have been declared in our project and that we can possibly use. But for me, I know the specific ID that I want to use, which is the what? This one, messages button. So I'll just simply paste it there. So by pasting it there, it means that we have connected this button with the one in front. So it means that I can be able to get the text in the other button. I can be able to change the text. I can hide it. I can do anything that it is possible to be done on a what? On a button. So after connecting them, now how to create a what? The listener, the click listener. so that if someone click on that button, I should be able to do what? To listen and know what is going on. So I'll do that after connecting. I've already connected, so I'll just come and put here the button name, then you add dot set on click listener. So Android Android Studio, it is having some good intelligence to automatically create it for us by just putting there. Then you put new in small letters, then you open capital and then put on, and then capital O and then put small n and then put click. Then you just see it will suggest it here, view click listener. Just say press enter and then they'll create for you the remaining part, the logic of the remaining part. But it's simple. Here it's just you set and what, and a click listener interface or event or function, and then you receive the new view on click listener, and then as you receive it, you override the what, the on click listener. So for now you don't need to even understand all these things, but the main point is just you should know how to do what, to set the on click listener. So when I click on the button, then it means that the code between this curly bracket is going to do what? Is going to be executed. It's going to be what? To be executed. So inside this code, I want now to call our what? Our message view, or to open the message function. You see, this function will remain the same, but I just want to call it here to open the messages. So I'll just call it. I can pass this vid like the way I did before, but this vid, you're not using it here, so I can just remove it because at the moment we don't use it, the view that it returns. So after calling this function, I'll put a what? A semicolon. So by doing that, you will have created a click listener that will do what? That will call this open message function, and this open message function, its task is just to open the what? The second activity, and I already explained that. And it will be able to do what? To open the second activity. And I can use this, remember, I can use this button object to what? To control anything with my button. Now let us run and see the output. So there is our app. Now we want to click here, and then you should call this on click listener and then open the second activity. So I click open messages. You see it has opened the second activity. Click on open messages, so it means that it has called that on a click. It has called the on the on click button listen, and inside the on click button listener we do what? We open the second activity. So that's how we use any of those two methods to open your second activity or to navigate from one activity to another. I hope you've got that point, and I won't go beyond here. In the next class we're going to learn more deeper information about Android. Thank you for watching the video, and if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do it now, and see you in the next video. Take care.